Hello everybody, here Jose Rezuelo from the University of Malaga. I'm going to present our work which title is Role-Playing as a Strategy to Teach How to Argue in Science, the Vision of Teachers in Initial Training. I hope you will enjoy. So, as you may know, in the recent years, argumentation has played an essential role in the curriculum to develop scientific thinking and critical citizens. But also, argumentation aims to promote knowledge about the nature of science, approaching socio-scientific context to students, and connecting with social concern with their everyday life. In this way, the role play as an educational resource has limited acceptance in the educational field, probably because its benefits are not known, such as the development of argumentative capacity, the motivation of students, or promote attitudes. In the case of science education, it is ideal for establishing a debate with different points of view in science classroom. So the main objective of this work were to promote the scientific argumentation ability and develop the critical thinking in our students, and to provide training role-playing strategies to pre-service elementary teachers to reflect on these practices in the classroom. How we pretend to do this? Staging a role-playing around the current problem of plastic production and construction. So, regarding the methodology that we follow, the context, as I said, is a staging of a role-playing around the current problem of plastics production and consumption as a part of a broader training program to improve the critical thinking of pre-service teachers by way of scientific argumentation. Our sample were 66 pre-service students in their third year of undergraduate studies for primary school teachers at the University of Malaga. The data collection were made by online questionnaires to implement the tasks involved in the role play. And the data treatment were a qualitative analysis of a participants' contributions. In this slide, you can see a general scheme about the role-playing task. And in the next slide, I will try to explain you all the tasks more in depth. So the task number one in the role-playing was at the presentation of this role-play and the segment of roles. In this task, the teacher presents the role-playing scenario to the pre-service teachers, and there is an segment of the roles of the role-playing, 8 in favor and 8 against agreement. So in this slide, you can see a scheme with the character involved in the role-playing. You can see that we have characters in favor, like the ecologist, fishermen, environmental scientists, and against, like the lobby, the packaging chain consultant, a company that provides plastic. So just for information, the role playing presented here is based on around the current problem of plastic production and consumption. And specifically, it is based on an agreement reached recently by the European Union to eliminate single-use plastic as in 2021. The task number 2 it was the role-playing stage, and it was carried out as it follows. At the beginning, it was a 3-minute introduction by the presenters. Then all the characters had a 1-minute turn to offer its argument for or against the issue. Then we had a 5-minute break where the characters prepared the debate with the help of their advisors, and afterwards we have a 25-minute debate where the different roles can defend or counter-argue their positions. At the end, a final stage where we had where the presenters give an answer to the question posed in the debate. So the task number 3 was a role-playing perception test. This perception test was performed before and after the experience, and the pre-service teachers fill out a test of 4 open items on their perception of the use of this strategy in the classroom and their emotions first. As I said in the previous slide, the before and after the experience, the pre-service teacher fill out a test of oral open items on the perception of the use of this strategy in the classroom, and about their emotion that they felt during, before, and after the experience. So here you can see in the table the 4 items I mentioned before. Items 1 and 2 intend to evaluate the activity for application in an elementary classroom and determine how important the pre-service teachers consider this type of teaching strategy to develop argumentation and critical thinking capacities in their future students. In concerning their emotions, the item 3 and 4, they had to select emotions that they were experienced at that time from Alice, were posed at 2 key moments in the activity, namely before and after the staging. In all the cases, they had to explain their answers. If we start now with the result, we can say that the proposed role-playing activity or plastic construction was well received by the pre-service teachers, as they showed in full in the perception test both before and after the experience that the role-playing was an interesting strategy for the elementary classroom. Some of the pre-service phrases were: it creates empathy, it develops critical thinking, or it encourages the capacity to argue. Focusing in the item 2, the score given in the role-playing was high, 8.3 out 10 in the pre-test and 8.6 in the post-test, in both moments, being slightly higher after the staging. So this figure represents the overall percentage of the emotion experienced by the pre-service teachers before and after the role-playing. In this case, emotion can fall into 2 different categories: positive emotion such as confidence, concentration, satisfaction, interest, and negative emotions such as rejection, insecurity, shame, and boring. As we can see, the pre-service teachers initially show interest before the staging, around 54.1%, and also they indicate insecurity when they were defending the role, in this case around 20.3%. However, this percentage changed after the staging. In the case of the interest, it passed to 64.4%, and in the case of insecurity, it decreased until 3.4% after the staging. Another important aspect is to highlight is the shame experience in the emotions shame and satisfaction. In the first case, 13.5% remarked that they felt shame before the staging, perhaps related to the insecurity reflected at that time. However, after the staging, this percentage decreased considerably to 1.7%. It seems to be linked to the decrease in the positive emotions such as concentration, confidence, and interest mentioned before. Concerning satisfaction, we could observe a considerable increase before and after the role-playing, going from 1.4% to 11.9% respectively, which can be related to the small increase in the concentration of the pre-service teachers from 9.5 before to 11.9 after. So if we consider some final consideration, we can say that after the preliminary study, we can say that the implementation of this role-playing in the classroom has shown mainly positive emotions like confidence, concentration, satisfaction, and interest. Also, it seems that to indicate that the role-playing can be an excellent strategy to teach future elementary teachers to argue science. As a next line of work, it remains to investigate the quality of the arguments and counter-arguments produced by the pre-service teachers in the debate and how to help them to improve them, as well as the scientific knowledge that's quite around the issue. The results will make it possible to verify the potential of the role-playing as a strategy for developing scientific argumentation. Just to comment that this work is part of 2 projects: an excellent R&D project funded by the Ministry of Economy, Industry and Competitiveness in 2017, and the project PIE 19139, funded by the University of Malaga through its 2019 call. Just to finish, thank you for your attention.